Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Art and History in Fiction podcast. My name is Gladys Strickland, and we've been looking at some of the art and history that feature in my novel, The Stonemason's Secret, and today I've got one more episode that talks about some of the aspects of that, and it is on medieval minstrels and their music. This is just going to be a brief overview to introduce you to the idea, but I hope you find it useful and helpful. So what is a minstrel? What role did they have in medieval society? And what type of music did they play? Let's take a look at it. The minstrel carvings in Beverley Minster are central to the plot in The Stonemason's Secret. I've talked about them before in earlier episodes, but this time I want to explore who the minstrels were and the music that they played. Among the 76 figures playing instruments in Beverley Minster, there are 27 carvings along the north aisle that represent local minstrels. These carvings were completed in the second quarter of the 14th century and are the largest collection of three-dimensional representations of medieval instruments in the world. Though many of the carvings have been restored, they still provide valuable information about medieval instruments and playing techniques. Medieval minstrels in England. Minstrels were popular between approximately 1250 and 1500 CE, and their main role was to provide musical entertainment. Initially, they were mostly traveling musicians without permanent address or means of income, relying on handouts when they performed. Over time, nobles began employing them to provide music for their households. With that change, minstrels gained a steady income and a place to live. By the late Middle Ages, the time period of the Beverley minstrel carvings, most minstrels in England were not employed by the monarch or nobility. Instead, they worked in feudal households or in towns as members of a civic band. The church also began to employ them in local churches or in the households of various church officials. The Minstrels Guild in Beverley. As with many crafts and trades of the time, minstrel guilds were formed to support and improve the lives of their members. Beverley was the headquarters for a guild of minstrels, and the prosperity of the guild attracted musicians to move there. How prosperous were they? While there are no surviving records, the Minstrel Guild in Beverley donated money in the 15th century to help renovate the nave piers in St. Mary's Church in Beverley. Their patronage was acknowledged with the minstrel pillar carved atop the pier on the north side nearest the central crossing. It is still there today and can be seen if you go visit, and also see the show notes for links that give you some images of that. Medieval music. Medieval music was either sacred or secular. Sacred music included chants and other music used during the liturgy. Secular music was played in civic processions, at celebrations, and for entertainment during banquets and dances. Music notation began during the medieval period, but little medieval music has survived in written form. Medieval instruments were divided into two types, alt and bass. Haut, spelled H-A-U-T, are the loud, shrill instruments used to play outdoors. It is French for high, and here it means high in volume. These instruments were used by civic bands in processions and for celebrations. Examples include shawms, pipe and tabor, and bagpipes. In contrast, the bass instruments produced soft low tones. It is spelled B-A-S, and it means low, again referring to the volume of sound they produced. These instruments were used indoors for liturgical services, mystery plays, banquets, and dances. Examples include woodwinds and stringed instruments. Beverley Minster North Aisle Minstrel Carvings. The carvings in the minster's nave north aisle are not grouped by type of instrument, in some cases having the loud and soft instruments side by side. Therefore, they do not represent a group that would have performed together. What they may represent, however, is another instance of the Minstrel Guild donating money, this time for the building of the minster's nave. In recognition of the donation, the series may have been carved and placed along the north wall. While no records remain to verify this, it was the conclusion I came to when I researched the carvings for my master's degree. Still, could there be something to the way the carvings are grouped? That is one of the questions that Sarah Walker, my protagonist, grapples with in The Stonemason's Secret. Do the figures she found the clues on form a sort of group? If so, what do they mean? How could it help her find the cup of Jamshid? What she learns is, well, you'll have to read the book to find out. Are you interested in what medieval music sounded like? Take a look in the description below for a link to a playlist of medieval secular music that I have created so that you can have a listen. If you're more interested in liturgical music, a search for medieval chants will bring that up and give you an idea of that. Also in the description below are links to articles that give you more information on medieval minstrels and their instruments, as well as links to the other articles and podcasts in this series surrounding medieval minstrels and their relationship with Beverley Minster and the figures carved there. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Art in History and Fiction podcast. Thank you for listening in, and if you enjoyed it, please let other people know about it. Until next time.